The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Happy weekend to you. We have a great show lined up for you today. Makaila will join us shortly. She's been on vacation and she's late getting back. I'm a little fluffier than normal because I've been on vacation as well, but it is what it is, right? Here's what we're going to start with today. We're going to talk about homeowners associations. My law firm is probably the biggest in town dealing with helping people when they fight their homeowners associations. A lot of real estate agents in the room right now who might get mad at me a little bit, but let's be clear, homeowners associations are not God. There are things that you can do to fight back when your HOA comes after you. Also, John Ledford will join us after that to talk about protecting your wealth, but maybe even more importantly, growing your wealth safely, knowing that everything you've worked for your entire life is going to be safe and secure. We are here live. Any questions that you have, 321-282-1055. Quick break. Behind the Law continues.
Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
Hurricane season definitely upon us, and we all think, oh, we'll go to the grocery store and get some water bottles and some paper towels, but there's something important in your house right now that is very important when it comes to hurricane season, and that is your windows. Dan Brigman is here. Renewal by Andersen. Dan, you think about sitting around during a hurricane party or when you're getting through a hurricane with your family, playing a game or whatever you're doing, and when those winds really start to pick up and you start hearing those windows vibrating, that gets scary. Why don't we think about windows when we think about hurricane prep?
You're absolutely right, Justin. It does get a little nerve-wracking. And one of the reasons we don't is because, you know, when we think about windows, we think about energy savings. We think about, hey, does the thing go up and down? Are there bugs coming in? Is there any water around my windows? And things like that. We don't think about that, you know, an 80, 90 mile an hour wind is enough wind to send something through that window. If you're sitting in there playing Monopoly, send it through the window, hit you, and end the story.
It's not a good thing at all. I put the QR code on the screen right now. Dan has a very special gift for you in preparation for hurricane season to help protect your family by changing and upgrading your windows. Dan, for these people at home, what are you going to do?
Well, I can tell you this, it will not happen again before hurricane season, which we're already in, right? And so it's 20% off of anything and everything that we sell. So that's our windows and our doors. And so get it while you can.
I appreciate it very much, Dan. Great to see you. You will appreciate Renewal by Andersen, I assure you that. This is free, by the way. Hit the QR code on the screen or call the phone number right now. Totally free consultation with their design consultant. Call Renewal by Andersen today. Welcome back to the show and welcome to the show. Hi, Makaila, how are you?
I'm great. I had a great vacation. Thanks for talking crap.
Do you care to explain to this audience why you were late for the program today?
I mean, you should do it.
Let me see your nails.
I got a butterfly.
So, but I know you just got back from vacation, but are you, a very clear question, are you late for the show because you were getting your nails done?
Yes.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
You don't care about this audience that religiously
my,
watches you every weekend.
Well, I mean,
you're going to be late for the show because you're getting your nails done.
I was doing them a favor. So, yeah. And I got a butterfly, so it was worth it.
Well, they look beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you think HOAs, when you think homeowners associations, what do you think?
Nothing good.
No?
No, I don't think anything good. I think those are the people that like yell at you, which I understand because like you want to have like your neighborhood looking pretty, but I think a little, you know, they get aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think homeowners associations are very important. Of course, we want our neighborhoods to be safe and we want them to be nice, we get it. But homeowners associations can take things too far oftentimes, and I see it in my office every day. Literally, we're the biggest firm in town that represents individuals against their homeowners associations. Here's what's scary. If your HOA says that you owe them $10, $100, whatever it is, not only can they come collect that money, they can foreclose on your home. It's just like not paying your mortgage. However, what I have found is HOA attorneys are better and operate faster than these big foreclosure mill law firms that are doing mortgage foreclosures. So to me, it's more important actually to pay your HOA first, even before your mortgage, if you had to decide. Obviously, you should pay both. But homeowners associations, make no mistake about it, if you do not pay them, they can come and foreclose on your home, which is pretty scary if you think about it. And I see them do it for very small amounts of money sometimes. It's scary. But what we really see the most of is a homeowners association coming by and being maybe too aggressive with you and what they want you to do. It's the old story about the elderly gentleman who is retired and now he's taking this, being the president of his HOA to really a whole nother level. I'm trying to be nice.
I know, no, everyone understands what you're trying to say. He's got a little bit of power and acts like he has all of it.
Yes, and then they come around and they are fining you and making you do things that sometimes you really don't have to do. And when people come into my office, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, HOAs are like government, really. You can't fight the government. And that's where you were a little bit wrong. You do have power when it comes to dealing with your homeowners association. Here's what we do almost every time, and I probably shouldn't give away my tricks, but whatever, here we go. So in Florida, under the Homeowners Association statute, you have a right to demand mediation. In fact, if you're going to sue your HOA, you cannot sue them until you send this formal demand letter. It's several pages long. You offer up certain mediators. There's a bunch of things that you have to put in there. And then the Homeowners Association has 20 days to respond. And virtually every time we send this letter out, and we've sent thousands and thousands of them, almost every time the HOA will agree to go to this mediation. You got to split the cost with them. So the cost of the mediator is probably $300, $600, depending on how long the mediation actually goes. But it's a very effective tool, and a tool that you have to use. If you just sue, I'm so mad, I'm just going to sue my HOA, your case will get dismissed because you must send this letter to the HOA before you are allowed to sue them. But it works the other way as well. If the home, what?
No, this is fascinating. Go ahead.
Am I monopolizing the floor again?
You just keep talking, so just continue.
So the HOA has to do the same thing to you, though. The Homeowners Association can't just sue you. They have to also send this mediation demand to you. And I recommend if you get that letter, you engage in mediation with them. However, it's kind of scary doing it yourself. I really think you should have a lawyer by your side because your Homeowners Association absolutely will have their law firm by their side as you go through this process. And these are very important matters. And what happens often is...
Well, mediation just doesn't always work, though.
Mediation is a very effective tool, especially when it comes to HOA.
Yeah, but if you're dealing with like unreasonable things, it doesn't work.
And then that's when you call me and we show up with you and things all of a sudden get more reasonable. That's what we've noticed. Once we jump in, the Homeowners Association, generally speaking, will want to try to work with us and resolve the problem. And something you need to be cautious of when you're dealing with your HOA is the prevailing party attorney fee statute, and oftentimes in your governing documents, there's a prevailing party. So what that means is if the HOA sues you for something and they win, you have to pay their attorney's fees. But to go along with that, the opposite is if you sue your HOA or you have an issue with your HOA and you win, they have to then pay your attorney's fees as well. So, be careful. You must be cautious when it comes to dealing with homeowners associations. I think the state of Florida probably is the number one state when it comes to HOAs and the power that they have and just the sheer volume of homeowners associations that we do have. And again, I think HOAs are very important, okay? I do. They are important. It's just, and I know, and everyone in this room knows, sometimes the homeowners association takes it too far. And these presidents and vice presidents and things, most of the time are not trained attorneys. They don't necessarily know all about this. They're relying on a property management company generally, and then ultimately the law firm that's representing them to make these decisions. But at the end of the day, it's whoever's sitting on that board who's really making the decision. And many times, and you know what I'm talking about if you've had any sort of fight with your HOA, many times there becomes personality conflicts, okay? the president just doesn't like you, or the vice president just doesn't like you, and they're going to pick on you. And there's a term for this, and we see it all too often. It's called selective enforcement. And a lot of you who live in a homeowners association community know exactly what I'm talking about. They're selectively enforcing certain rules and regulations against you, but they're not doing it to their buddy down the street. And this is against the law. They can not do this. And I would say the majority of the HOA cases that we have, selective enforcement comes into play. And they cannot do that. They cannot treat you differently because they don't like you than they do to themselves or to their buddy who they have barbecue and drinks with on Friday night. They can't. That's called selective enforcement. They can't do that to you, but yet they do it all the time. Be careful with it. So when it comes to homeowners associations, you need to be careful. Number one, you need to know that they can foreclose on you and take your home, and they do it all the time. And there's this whole world of investors out there who all they do is they try to go bid at the courthouse, the proverbial courthouse steps for these HOA foreclosures. They love them. Because when the HOA forecloses, they're going to then buy up the house, kick you out, either pay your mortgage or just not pay your mortgage and rent the house until the bank then comes and forecloses. There's a whole group of investors that this is all they do is bid on HOA foreclosure. So be careful, okay? But don't think that the HOA is God. There are things that you can do to fight back, things that you should do oftentimes to fight back. Any more questions about this at all? It's 321-282-1055. What do you think? I mean, if you're buying a house right now, will you buy a house in an HOA community or not?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So, be buddies with the HOA is what I'm hearing.
Oh, I'm not necessarily saying you should be buddies with them. I mean, you shouldn't just go around picking fights, but you don't have to go kiss up to them either because they're not allowed to.
So just follow the rules, is what you're saying.
Follow the rules, but if they're not following the rules, they have to follow the rules as well.
And then they have to call you. Got it.
I know you like money, right?
Yeah, so
and
do you.
Protecting and growing your money. John Ledford joins me next on Behind the Law.
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
Do I ever have a very special gift for you today? Compliments our good friends over at Universal Roof and Contracting. 15% off your roofing job. The roof is the most important part of your house. No doubt about it. Welcome my good friends as always, Justin and Corey. Hi, how are you today?
Good, man, good. Thank you.
The roof is the most important part of the house, but sometimes deciding who your roofing company is going to be is the most important decision as well. Culture is everything.
Sure.
When determining who's going to do your roofing job, Universal, the culture over there blows me away. Trustworthy. Tell me about the culture at Universal.
Yeah, 30 years in the making, right? Family-owned, veteran-owned, same name and ownership over the past 3 decades. We're so proud to be so rooted in Orlando, and we have offices in Jacksonville and Southwest Florida, but the honest approach, the integrity we carry, working transparently with insurance companies and homeowners alike. We approach roofing the way an honest company really should.
Trusted by some of the biggest sports teams in Florida as well.
That's right. That's right. We this past season we were the one of the partners with the Jacksonville Jaguars, which was awesome. They had a great season this year too. And then just coming next month, the XFL, the Orlando Guardians. We are the official roofer for the Orlando Guardians, so we're excited to go out to those games and see everybody there. So it'll be great.
A roof can be expensive. You created great programs to make this roof not cost prohibitive for me.
Yeah, last thing we're going to do is take food off people's plates to afford a roof. So we have a ton of flexible financing plans that just keeps things very liquid for homeowners, even if they don't want to use their own money, even if they have it at the time, so we offer that as well for every roof replacement.
I have this QR code on the screen right now. Get your phone out or go to their website, but the QR code will go directly to Justin and Corey, and literally you get 15% off. But guys, you're going to come to my house and tell me what I really need, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah. Free inspection, first of all. It does cost nothing for us to come out. We're going to sit down with you, hear what you like about your roof, what you don't like about your roof, what problems you've had, and come up with a custom scope of work that makes sense for you.
Always a pleasure to see you both. There's only one company we trust when it comes to roofing. That is Universal Roof and Contracting. Welcome back to the show. Weird financial times, really. We have a very heated election upcoming again, too. And the last couple of years have just been strange. And a lot of you have not wanted to look into your investment accounts because, let's be honest, they've gone down, they've come back up. And it really begs the question to me as we are building wealth. I mean, how often should we really look at these accounts? Should we get super nervous when they go down, knowing they're probably going to go back up? Who better to ask these questions than our good buddy John Ledford, certified financial planner extraordinaire, and really when it comes to financial planning in this market, you're top of the list. I mean, you're the guy to call, and your insight on these programs has always been so good too. I get calls all the time saying that John guy is really smart, and I want to think
smart.
that it's the questions I ask make you very smart.
Thank you.
But
yes, I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's you, John. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And you've been doing this for a long time, and obviously you've seen the ups and downs of the financial markets. And the fear for me a lot of times is people get nervous when things go down,
Sure.
pull out their money, and then want to get back in when things go up. But inevitably, that's cost them a lot of money.
Sure.
When you think about the psychology of investing, what do you tell people?
Yeah, so one of the oldest adages, and there are lots of them in the investment world, but one of the oldest adages is buy low and sell high. And most individual investors do exactly the opposite. And they tend to invest thematically or based upon emotion or based upon some type of hype or what they heard at a cocktail party or whatever the case may be. And they don't invest within the scope of their own risk tolerance. They invest in whatever they think is kind of in vogue at the moment. And so when you're investing that way, then the only thing that I can assure you is that you will probably fail at some point because you're inevitably going to be buying. Even if you're lucky to buy in the middle, you're typically going to be buying middle to top and then selling when things get really crazy. And so we coach, as a firm, we coach our investors to know your risk tolerance, to know your long-term goals, to have a cash flow picture that can demonstrate that clearly and easily for you, and let that guide your investment philosophy, not the ups and downs of what the stock market's doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, here's what we'll do. QR code on the screen right now. John would be happy to talk to you about these issues off the air. He'll sit down with you in his office and talk about where you are now financially, where you need to be, and how to get there. I think it's a very important strategy session with John, and you'll feel good. You'll feel great about where you are going in your financial future. And it also begs the question to me. So it seems like everyone now is their own doctor. Everyone knows everything about law, all from the internet.
Yes.
But I think in investing, it's the same thing. When you talk about social media and all of the information, some right and some wrong that's out there, how has that changed how you deal with your clients when they come in knowing all of this stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between being an educated consumer and being an over-educated or an over-optimistic consumer, overconfident because of what you have learned from whatever sources that exist out there. And so, by and large, I would say as a firm, we've been very, very fortunate, very, very blessed that we work with really, really great people. And all of the clients that we've shared fall into that category. People that are educated, people that understand, people that have great questions, and they make for really, really great clients. Every now and then, whether it's doctor, lawyer, financial advisor, or whatever, you have certain clients that are more difficult than others. And sometimes we do run into clients, I would say, that technically may know more than we do about a particular topic, right? Or that at least they act that way. But managing those relationships, I think, is super key. I tell clients, for instance, engineers are a unique personality type oftentimes. They're very, very meticulous. They're very, very detailed. Some of us are not. I would fall into that category of not, right? I fall more on the soft skills and the hard skills. What we do as a firm is we have an engineering type client. We have an interactive planning tool. We let them actually drive the planning process.
Wow.
So now they're the ones who are inputting the data, reviewing the data, getting really, really geeky with the data, and then we're reviewing the process and then coaching them through it. And it can be a very, very, very valuable collaborative process because we're using each other's strengths. I think the challenge is I'm smarter than you, so let's sit in a room and try and figure out who can be smarter than each other. It's counterproductive, right? We're not going to be able to help them, and they're not going to benefit at all. But if we can collaborate, we can win.
So when an engineer walks in, it's like, John, we got another engineer coming in.
Get the chart out.
Right, yeah. We have a bell. We have a certain bell. Yeah.
I hate to hear what you guys say when lawyers walk in.
Run.
I don't blame you, trust me. What about models? Oh, geez.
Right. Well, we all have our own unique isms.
That's
so,
right.
whatever it might be.
So as we come up with this plan, we strategize with you. Now we have a plan. Like, what does that look like? When we say, oh, here's the plan, what does that look like?
Yeah, so for us, it's a combination of a few things. It's a literal a plan that exists in the webosphere, in the internet, kind of a plan that is cloud-based and actually is updated 24/7. And so if someone has, 27 investment accounts at 27 different custodians, it all ties into our system, and the system automatically collates all that data on a daily basis. So we don't have to manipulate it. It's there for us and for our clients. But so there's a plan that's actually being updated on a daily basis. It relates to your investments, relates to your savings, your retirement savings, relates to your legal structure, relates to every area of your life that is you financially. And so that's a barometer that we utilize with our clients to review consistently. Oftentimes, we also disseminate that electronically or via paper. Some people still like paper, to our clients and or to their other advisors. Oftentimes their attorney, CPA. We want them to know what we're doing from a planning standpoint. They usually respond and say, why are you sending me this? But we send it anyway, and then we get to talk through it with them. But, and then along with that, though, there's a plan of attack. So I was with a client this morning, and a lot of great issues that we talked about through a course of a 90-minute meeting. But the net result of that conversation was 3 to 4 specific action items that we share over the next 90 days, 3 to 4 that are probably over the next year, and 3 to 4 more that are more 3 to 5 year in nature. But we've got all that cataloged, we've got an action plan established, we'll hold each other accountable, and we'll make sure that it's executed for her benefit.
Yeah. How often do you recommend your clients log into the account and see what's there, especially when things are not going well financially as a society?
Sure.
It gets nerve-wracking when they start to see things go down a little bit, and I'm afraid they'll just, let's sell everything. That's
Right.
not always the best idea.
It's not always the best idea. It's rarely the best idea. I tell people the worst times to plan are at the peak or the trough. We're always going to get bad data if we're looking at the best day or the worst day. Just think even emotionally how we are as humanoids. And so the idea of how often you should review is a really, really challenging one, because I think, again, it's a little bit personality driven. It's also driven by other things that are unique to the investment world. We have something in the investment world that I like to call sudden wealth syndrome, which doesn't happen in a lot of other professions, maybe in the medical profession where someone has a sudden illness and all of a sudden they're overwhelmed with data. But if you have someone who is a business owner who has had a windfall, or someone's had a legal windfall, or someone who's inherited money, we call that sudden wealth syndrome. And all of a sudden, you have to not only develop the requisite skills to understand the investment world, but you have to do it at a very high level. So you don't have the experience of investing $1 a month over a long period of time and seeing these things happen. Right. All of a sudden you have whatever, millions of dollars, and if the market goes down 10%, you just lost $1 million. Well, a month ago you may have not even been able to spell $1 million, and now $1 million's gone out of your portfolio. So I think as advisors, we have to, one of the best things that we can do for our clients is not only understand their investment strategy, all the things I talked about before, but understand what makes up them uniquely them, and how they would have a propensity to respond to things good and bad, so we can get ahead of that and coach them appropriately.
What is the personality profile of someone who has just come into all this wealth normally?
It's always different.
Yeah.
The one common characteristic is, no one send me hate mail, the one common characteristic is typically a family that's too influential.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you see, for good and bad reasons, let's assume they're good motives, but they may have a level of maturity and age, but they may not have the financial, legal, or tax understanding to really deal with things, yet they provide a buffer. That's often really challenging. You have the opposite end of that, where you have family members that have an expectation that they're going to share in the bounty. And so those things are challenging. We have one of those now, a ball player, and the family's been given very specific instructions that whatever they need, call me, and not him.
Oh, really?
And so that's an interesting one, where we're trying to insulate a multimillionaire who's in his early 20s, and it's challenging.
Is the phone ringing a lot? I hope not.
It's not. It's not. But it will at some point.
Yeah.
It will at some point.
John Ledford, great job as always.
Thank you.
You got it. Give yourself an opportunity to sit down with John right now. QR code on the screen, or call us 321-282-1037. 1055. He truly is the best in the business. All right, here's what we'll do. A very last quick break. When we return, it's what do we learn?
Did you know that filing for bankruptcy can help you lower your mortgage or car payments or potentially help you eliminate your IRS or credit card debt? I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, call me now or visit youhavepower.com for a free consultation.
So happy to be here at Ocala Realty World. I love Ocala, love Marion County. Pleased to be joined by Alicia Lopez. Hi, Alicia, how are you?
Good, thank you.
This area of Florida, this area of the country is stunningly beautiful. A lot of people are moving here. What would you tell them about Marion County and Ocala?
I would say that you get kind of the best of both worlds. So close to Orlando, to Tampa, even Gainesville, but still so far away from everything that little rural, kind of away from it all feeling. You can still get that here. And you don't have to be too far away from civilization if you don't want to, or you could be completely out in the middle of nowhere on acreage, whether you like horses or just a farm, or there's tons of luxury properties too on acreage here, so you really have a little bit of everything.
Stunningly beautiful. I'm a real estate agent thinking about hanging my license somewhere, or even maybe if I'm a real estate agent in another part of the state thinking about moving here. Ocala Realty World has a certain energy, a certain vibe. You care about your agents, don't you?
Oh yes, absolutely.
How do you make them so successful?
I love on them a lot, and I just think of any relationship, the best relationships are really the only relationships that even last is that you genuinely care about each other, so it's reciprocated from both sides, and our agents know that we really do want them to be successful. My husband and I, we were there, we did all that stuff, and like we could still go out there and do that, but now we get to teach all of our agents and anyone that kind of would be that right fit for us to come on, and they can do the same as well and learn.
Beautiful brokers you have here in a beautiful part of the world, and if you're looking to buy or sell anywhere here in the Ocala, Marion County area, or if you were an agent looking to really propel your career, look no further than Ocala Realty World. And we wrap it up today with me dropping my card.
You okay?
As always, with what did we learn? Makaila Nichols, what did you learn?
I learned that I'm manifesting sudden wealth syndrome.
That's what you want?
That's what I want. Like, I need it.
That's the only syndrome I want too.
Same.
When I think about it.
Yeah.
I learned that your nails are really top priority in your life, of course.
Sometimes,
they do.
yes.
They look great, but I don't know if it's worth like missing the beginning of the show for.
No, I mean, you just talk the whole time anyway.
They do look great. Homeowners associations can take your house. They can foreclose on your house just like a bank can. A lot of people are surprised by that. Does that surprise you?
It does not.
No.
No, because I've heard you say it before.
Oh, from doing the show together?
Yeah.
I see. I got it. John Ledford, always killed today. I know that he's the man I trust when it comes to protecting my money and growing my money through tax
And working
savings
with all kinds of people.
That's right.
Even
Awesome.
engineers.
You got it. Excellent job, Makaila. I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. See you again next week for more Behind the Law.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.